Hi, everyone. I want to welcome you to a new episode of The Laws of Entrepreneurship. And today I have someone very special. Her name is Jessica Hill, and she is going to talk to us about Amazon FBA and all of its different components. If you are someone that has ever been motivated by selling online through an e-commerce platform, someone where someone is already shopping for goods or services, Jessica might be a one-stop shop for you. So welcome, Jessica.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm really excited to have you. First off, I have to tell you that I really love the name that you chose. You could tell everyone about the brand associated with your FBA business.
Right. So in 2017, I created Ladies of FBA, and we are primarily on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And it's just a safe space for women entrepreneurs that are specifically selling on Amazon to just help each other be successful on Amazon.
So tell everyone why you chose Ladies of FBA and not like People of FBA. Is it because you saw like lots of females, lots of moms, lots of stay-at-home moms? What was it?
So absolutely. So my friend Jill and I, we were actually extreme couponers together, and we both have autoimmune diseases. So being entrepreneurs is actually better than having to work in corporate. And we started on Facebook. So we had been in lots of Facebook groups. And what we identified was there wasn't like a safe space for women to support each other and ask all of the questions from the very first day you open your Amazon account all the way to, people that are well-versed selling on Amazon and other e-commerce platforms. And so Jill and I were like, let's start our own ladies group and make it a safe, positive, drama-free space where we can ask all of our e-commerce questions. So that's kind of the origination. We just wanted a safe space to hang out and become better entrepreneurs.
So what does that mean to you, entrepreneurship? Now, you mentioned having an autoimmune disease. How does entrepreneurship tie into that?
So for e-commerce entrepreneurs, we get to set our own hours when we're feeling okay, right? So it's for everybody. You don't have to have an autoimmune disease, but entrepreneurship, e-commerce entrepreneurship specifically, you can work your own hours. So I have 4 children. I am a taxi driver for many hours a week, but then I can take those hours that they're at school or late at night when they're sleeping and build my e-commerce business. So that's kind of where, entrepreneurship, there's all kinds of, ways to be an entrepreneur. You can own brick and mortar and all that. But e-commerce specifically is good for those of us that are, either a taxi driver for 2 to 3 hours a day during the week, or have days where you just don't feel good and going to a corporate job just wasn't a good fit. So that's kind of where we are as far as like our ladies group and who I am and what we stand for.
So how long have you been on this journey?
So I've been on e-commerce since 2003, but specifically e-commerce full-time seller since 2016. So in March, it'll be 4 years full-time.
That's great. And so let's fast forward. And so now what does life look like for you?
So now, as a I call myself a senior. I've been doing e-commerce for 4 years full time. So now I have several income streams. So not just Amazon. We have eBay, Poshmark, Mercari. I'm a coach. I do affiliates. So it's just building out all of the different businesses. I have 3 businesses and several different income streams to create that full e-commerce entrepreneur experience. Mm-hmm. And I do a lot of now, I really am diving into my passion of teaching. And so I'm doing classes and also one-on-one mentoring.
That's great. And so lots of people always doubt this online thing, and that's kind of how they refer to it, this online thing. What would you say to the skeptics out there? Do you kind of want to tell them, I'm not going to ask you directly how much you're making now unless you want to share it, but are you making similar to more than what you were making when you left a corporate job, or to someone who is in a corporate job right now?
Right. So I did work in biotech, and I had been working in biotech and pharmaceuticals for 13 years. I have a bachelor's of science with a minor in chemistry. So it was a very stable, good corporate job. And I wouldn't have taken that leap if I didn't think that I could be sustaining the income that I was making, right? So yes, it is profitable. Is it overnight? 100% no, right? It took a long time. I didn't take a payout for 18 months. And, at that point, I was starting to take $1,000 to $2,000 a month, and now it's $1,000 a week, that kind of thing. And when I'm talking to mentoring clients, pay your bills, right? If you are still working in corporate, but in any fashion, right? Not your own business, but then, take those hours that you can and build. And literally you can start with like almost nothing if you just work hard and, manifest money in all kinds of different ways, from Facebook Marketplace to Craigslist to putting your first boxes in the Amazon warehouse to flipping stuff on eBay. So you can really it's really about your hustle. If you're willing to do it, if you're willing to do the work for any business, or if you start drop shipping, whatever it is. But for me, absolutely, I needed to make more than I was making at corporate. Like I said, 4 kids, we have a mortgage and all of those things. And I didn't have any like special e-commerce, education. Like I definitely put my dues in those first few years to build those sustainable models. And so that's what we're kind of helping everyone with Ladies of FBA, just helping them through those steps and how to manifest money and how to do it right and how to answer questions when you have a customer question. So everything.
I love that. I love that story. So you come from a strong background, you had a stable job, and you are letting everyone know that e-commerce is possible and you can succeed with online platforms.
For sure. And, as you all see, all of the malls are closing. E-commerce is where the future is. People want that convenience. They want to shop from their pajamas. And it's only going to grow for the next 20, 30, 50 years, that e-commerce space, because it's convenient. It's affordable. Like there's so many ways to get your goods that you need right to your door. So it's only building. It's only building.
Okay. So now I'm somebody who, hypothetically speaking, right? I'm somebody who has never done Amazon before. I'm brand new. I find your videos on YouTube and I say, please help me. I am struggling. Where do I even begin?
Right. So first we would, tell you to open a seller account and watch all of the YouTube videos, absorb as much content as you can, but then start with if you're trying to manifest, say we're working full time, maybe you're a single mom, and you're trying to manifest money for your business. So we would suggest you start selling a few things on Facebook Marketplace, a free platform, right? And then you gather enough money to perhaps go to Dollar Tree or Walmart and fill your first box to send to the FBA warehouses. So if you don't know about FBA, it's fulfillment by Amazon, and it gives you that convenient factor of you don't have to ship every single order like eBay. But either way, we're going to start you at let's manifest the money. And then let's research, right? So when you're going to sell, you don't want to just go willy-nilly oh, this looks good, this looks good. You need to dive in and start learning how to source effectively with the resources you have, right? So if you're in a metropolitan area, that's amazing because you have all of these places, Target, Kohl's, Best Buy, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, you name it. But if you're in a rural area, then we have to think about, should you explore online arbitrage or wholesale accounts, so we're kind of just helping you out. And any question you have, it's a safe space for you to ask it with kind and courteous messages, right? So it's a drama-free group, and just taking it one step at a time. And I also teach taking it one platform at a time. So get really good at selling on Facebook Marketplace, and then get really good at the next one, and then graduate up to the eBays, the Amazons, the Poshmarks.
So what do you think is the best platform for a beginner?
Well, so Facebook Marketplace, if you live in a populated area where it's robust with lots of buy sell trade groups, because you could just go in your closet and get rid of old clothes and manifest money. Mm-hmm. Now, as far as Amazon's concerned, they have a great seller university. So they're really showing you the ropes. Once you open your account, you watch all your videos, you do your due diligence, just like if you were taking college courses, right? And so that platform, it's good. Every platform is a little overwhelming, especially if you've never sold a single thing online. So for manifesting capital really quickly, I would always suggest Facebook Marketplace, but then Amazon is it's so nice. You don't have to ship every single item. So I like the convenience of that.
So when you're looking for items to sell around your house, like what sort of items should you be looking for? How do you know what is good to put up on one of these platforms?
Right. So once you open your account, you need to learn the seller app. And then for everything that you put on Amazon, you either need to have, an invoice or a receipt, with the exception of books. So I would say go right to your bookcase and start scanning all the books and learning what the rank is. Obviously, if you're just taking a used book, you're not actually paying for it. So it's nice to generate a little money from used books. But then once you start actually sending, products, and you need to have the receipts to keep that chain of custody of what was authentic, right? Mm-hmm. But then if you still needed to make money to manifest money for your business, for your Amazon business, then you could still sell stuff out of your home on other sites. But for Amazon, you definitely need your chain of custody.
So for everyone, I kind of missed this step, which I feel I should have mentioned from the beginning, or I should have asked you anyway. What does FBA stand for? For everyone who's like, what in the world is FBA?
Right. So Amazon Fulfillment, FBA is Fulfillment by Amazon. So they have warehouses across the globe, and specifically across the United States, where you send your box. So let's say you have 10, 20 items you want to sell on Amazon. You've done your due diligence. You've looked at the rank. You make sure that it's profitable. Then you send it to Amazon, and they will pick and pack it and send it to your customer. So you're not actually, for eBay and other Mercari and Poshmark, you're storing it at your house or your location, and then you're shipping the individual items to the customer. Well, they have fulfillment services at Amazon. And that's why for me, if I'm going to sell 50,000 items a year or 100 items a day, I don't want to do all that shipping, right? I'm going to pay for that service for them to do the shipping for me.
So what are the fees associated with that?
Right. So you have your basic Amazon fees for listing on the platform, and then you have your fulfillment fees. So those fees range around 30 to 33% depending on your item, depending on how large it is or how small it is, right? And then depending on like how much it costs to ship it to Amazon. So that's kind of another ancillary fee. So when I'm sourcing and I find a product, let's just say it is $1, and I'm using my tax exempt form because I'm a reseller. Well, I'm going to add 25 cents to it to account for my prep and my shipping, or maybe 50 cents. And then when you're in the app, the seller app, it'll show you, let's say this $1 item sells for $15 just for ease of, explainability. So we're going to see $15 is what it's selling for. It's going to show you the Amazon fees, and then it'll show you what you're actually getting back, and you less the cost of your item. So the app, you really need to get familiar with that before you start, sourcing or purchasing inventory.
Why can't I just ship myself instead of sending it to Amazon?
So you definitely can, and that's merchant fulfilled. So that you can absolutely ship it from your location, your warehouse, your house, and save on those fulfillment fees. And a lot of people do that because they might have it posted on Amazon and eBay and Mercari or Poshmark. So it might be a good platform if you're already in e-commerce, with the exception of like I don't sell a lot of used clothes. Well, you can't sell used clothes on Amazon. You can sell some used items. Just make sure you know what is allowed. But so if I had a warehouse full of, I sell a lot of beauty. If I had a warehouse full of beauty and I wanted to cross-post it on 4 different platforms, I sure could, right? And then I could just ship it right to Amazon or right to the customer, and you buy the shipping through the seller dashboard.
Mm-hmm. But so why would someone not want to ship it directly, besides the fact that they could have high volume. I mean, if I'm a new seller, what are the chances that I'm going to have high volume anyway? So what other benefits are there to just doing FBA?
So FBA, so when you're on Amazon.com, the buyer side, you see it says Prime with the little smile underneath. Well, the Amazon sellers are going to get, the Amazon FBA sellers are going to get the Prime badge. So you'll be more likely to get the buy box, which the buy box is if you press add to cart or buy now, that's the buy box. So for ease of explainability, so let's say I have a makeup brush and it has 5 sellers and 4 sellers are merchant fulfilled and 1 seller is FBA. Well, that 1 seller's listing is going to have the Prime badge on it. So all of the buyers that are Prime members, they're going to prefer to buy things with the Prime badge, right? Because that means that their shipping is taken care of, and usually you can get it within 2 to 3 days, give or take, right? So that, and then their buy box algorithm favors people that use their fulfillment method. So that's kind of like they want you to use their fulfillment service, obviously. And then also just for ease of selling, right? If I send a box of 10 items, I only have to send 1 box. I don't have to send 10 different, shipments to.
Right.
So those are the 2 kind of pros about it.
So now years later, what would you tell yourself who was just starting out? Like, this gets easier. This is better. This is ideal. Avoid this trap. Gosh, why didn't anyone tell me this sooner? I could have fast forwarded a couple years.
Yes, absolutely. So Keepa is a website that is kind of like your dictionary of learning all of the products. So if I would have learned Keepa quicker earlier in my e-commerce career, that would have been benefit, right? They're going to give you a lot of data about your products, the velocity, how many sellers are on it, what the rank has and has been in the history. And being on top of your numbers. So inventory management, I use Inventory Lab. I did not use it for 7 months, the first 7 months, and I was kicking myself because you don't really know your numbers if you don't have an inventory. I don't care if you use Inventory Lab. I just want you to be on top of your numbers, whether it's an Excel sheet or whatever. So that's something. And then my first year, I bought some pallets and I made mistakes. So just making sure that you're doing your due diligence on every single supplier and making those phone calls if you go into wholesale and asking for samples instead of buying an entire pallet, right? So those are kind of and then I got my first mentor in 2017, and I wish I would have gotten a mentor sooner, like a coach, a mentor, someone that is experienced in the industry, because he has been a lifesaver to me, and I actually have 3 different coaches now, but those, and it's a business expense. It's worth it to have someone that has gone through the ropes, that has made their mistakes, to lessen the mistakes that you make. Because, unless you're super awesome at business and accounting and finance and all of that, which I'm not because I'm a scientist, then I would suggest, being on top of your numbers with inventory management, making sure that you know how to really dive into the data with Keepa or some other. Keepa's the one that everybody uses. And then being in a community, maybe not just a specific mentor, but being in a community where you're asking all of those questions, where people are giving you support so that you don't make mistakes.
I think what I love most about the advice that you just gave is that you can extrapolate that same advice and apply it to just business generally. Marcus Lemonis says, do you know your numbers? Are you on top of your numbers if you ever watch the profit? And so knowing your numbers is really important all across the board, no matter what kind of business you're in, no matter what type of entrepreneur you are. And the same holds true for having a mentor. Ty Lopez has said that you don't always have to learn from your own mistakes, but you can learn from the mistakes of others so as to avoid those mistakes.
Yes.
Which is essentially what you just said, right? If I would have had mentors early on, I could have avoided these mistakes myself because they would have guided me down the golden path.
Exactly.
For people that are new to just this Amazon thing generally, maybe you can highlight this a little bit more, but, I'm aware that there is Amazon FBA, and then of course there's Amazon FBA as a private label seller. And so those two things are different. Can you expand on that?
So I am a Amazon FBA retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, and wholesale model sales. That's my model, right? So I've been a retail arbitrager for 4 years. I've been doing online arbitrage, so retail arbitrage is the act of purchasing saleable goods in retail stores, right? Brick and mortars, and selling them, reselling them on e-commerce sites. And then online arbitrage is buying things online and flipping them online. And then wholesale is securing wholesale distributor contracts and using those contracts to sell things online, right? And then private label is private label and then white label, a little bit different. So private label, you're really going to be inventing a product that's solving a problem of a customer, where you're really diving into a niche, finding a hole, like finding, they don't have this for, like, let's just say you love cats and they don't have this product for cats. So now I'm going to go and I'm going to develop this product and I'm going to bring it to market. And so that's a private label seller. And then, so it's different than arbitrage, much different, because that's like you're inventing something, you're solving a problem for the customer, and then you're bringing it to market. And then white label is a little bit different. You're already finding a product that's already made, and then you're perhaps rebranding it under your own brand and bringing it to market. So it's not, you don't have that whole development. So some private label sellers will start with white label, go into a niche, identify a problem, find an already product. Maybe you're repurposing it from one type, like maybe it's like a cup, but now you're going to repurpose it into a cat dish. I don't know, right? But then you're going to go to the next layer, which is private label, and you're going to actually invent something and then solve your customer's problem. So those are kind of like the business models. So I'm over here in retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, and wholesale. And then my friends are private label, white label.
So why do you find FBA, what you do, more beneficial than private label?
So the cost of entry is much lower for retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, and then wholesale, right? Because I can go and I can just spend $20 at Walmart and sell things online. When you're doing private label and you're developing a product, maybe you have to buy a mold, all of that costs a lot more. The cost to enter that niche is more expensive. So a lot of people will start with retail arbitrage, get a feel for it, online arbitrage, retail arbitrage, wholesale, and then they will, you know what? I have a feel for this niche. Let's say cats. We're just going to stay with cats. And now I've identified a problem that none of the retail outlets are selling online or anything. And I'm going to take that capital that I've made from retail arbitrage, and I'll fund my private label business. So that's kind of, it's just about what kind of capital are you walking in with? Do you have 50 grand to open a private label business? Or are you working with, a little bit of money, maybe manifesting it on the side with other businesses, and then, growing your business through RA and OA?
Do you think, FBA sellers eventually move their way to private labeling, or do you find that most people just stay there?
Well, I guess it depends on the person and the niche, because I know that I've done RA, now I've done OA, now I'm doing wholesale, and then in year 5 and 6, I am going to do my first PLs. So it just kind of is about the person, where they want to go. Maybe they want to be an inventor, maybe not. So it's really just kind of how you evolve as an entrepreneur. And then even, taking it private label, selling it on Amazon, but then also selling it, maybe you're going to sell it to, retail stores, so it's just kind of wherever your path takes you and wherever you pick the learning, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, that sounds great. And so what kind of branding goes into what you do? I mean, because it sounds like there is a large branding aspect that goes into private labeling, because it's kind of like your own product. But what about in your situation? What amount of branding goes into it?
Right. So we don't have any specific branding because I'm selling, Nike shoes and groceries and Valentine candy. Like, it's already brands that are already on the website that are already established. So RA and OA, you're not changing any kind of brand. If you're going to white label or private label, that's where you would do a whole brand, brand building.
So you can go and sell any kind of brand like Nike, Puma, Adidas, I don't know, all types of food brands, like you could sell veggie chips if you wanted to. Is that how it works on FBA?
So as a brand new seller, you're going to walk into an account that is restricted or gated, right? So Amazon wants you to prove that you're a good seller. So when you first, like if you open your account today, you could probably sell some books, you could sell some grocery, maybe a few toys, but you're going to be restricted in a ton of categories and a ton of brands until you prove yourself. So you have good metrics, you're shipping good, you have good products that sell well. And then as you show Amazon that you're a good seller, that you're meeting all of their needs, their customers' needs, then over time, you'll get granted open, like we call it ungating, auto ungating or ungating. Now, that's just as you graduate, I have freshman, sophomore year. And then also, if you have wholesale contracts with any grocery supplier, something like that, then you can use the invoices from your contract to purchase 10 of one item or 10, depending if it's clothing, 10 of one parent variation. And then you can get ungated that way, right? So if I was brand new, but yet I have been working, maybe I have like a supplement store or something like that. Well, I can use, if they allow it, I can use my wholesale supplement invoices to build an e-commerce, business on Amazon. But if you're brand new, right out of the gate, you're going to open up your app and you're going to be able to sell, there's going to be a lot that you can sell, just not all the big ones, right? Not Nike and Under Armour and Adidas. They're going to wait and give you permission after you've shown that you are a good business person.
So how do you show that you're a good business person? Is that based on like a certain number of items that you sell, a certain number of brands that you sell? Is it over the course of a specific amount of time? How do you prove that?
So over the course of at least 6 months, we there's no like high and dry. Like Amazon's not like, okay, on your 6-month birthday, you're going to have 30 things open, right? It's just kind of how they work because every seller is different, right? You might be selling one thing a week. The more you sell, the better your metrics, the more gates they'll open quickly. And then there are restrictions in Q4 specifically for toys, toy brands, and then if you're a brand new seller, right? So if you were going to open an account today, January 30th, then I would say just start selling anything that you're approved for that is profitable. Obviously, we're still here to make a profit. And then as you walk through your year, keeping really good metrics, replying to your customers before 24 hours, all of those things that you'll learn in your Seller University videos. And then in Q4, they'll give you some guidelines on if you can or cannot sell toys. And then you'll know, or you can start by finding toy distributors now and getting ungated in specific brands so that when Q4 rolls around, you're welcome to sell those because that's, Barbie, Hot Wheels, all of that, all of that sells in Q4 for lots of money. So that's kind of how I like January because I like when I'm mentoring, it's really, I can prepare my students for Q4, which is when we all make the most money.
Okay. So 2 more questions before we close out this podcast. One is, do you need to have an LLC or like some kind of established business entity before you dive in?
So no. Right? When you start selling $10,000 a month, you have to have business insurance. It is recommended. I always say, if you're going to treat it like a business, if you're going to be selling on Amazon in any capacity, I would encourage you to get an LLC to protect your personal assets and your EIN number so you can start building that business credit. So even just having a bank account, right? A business bank account. So it's not required. Amazon has requirements with regards to when you need to have business insurance. But for me, as a coach or mentor, I'm going to encourage you to get those things to protect your personal assets.
Great. And what else do you need?
A little bit of capital and a lot of hustle, right?
The main ingredient is the hustle.
And then, of course, prepping materials. And, on my YouTube channel, I show you how to prep all the different items because you need to have it. It's going to a warehouse, lots of conveyors, lots of forklifts, all this stuff. So you need to pack your items specifically to what, if it's beauty, I'm definitely going to be bubble wrapping it, making sure that it's safe. So those are things that you need to think about before you go. But if you're going to sell books, you could just get a pack of poly bags, send in some books, start manifesting that capital, and then keep moving up through the categories.
Okay, and my last question is, when you go to YouTube and you type in Amazon coach, Amazon sellers, FBA, I mean, I feel like it is saturated, yeah. What do you feel about that? I mean, do you feel like Amazon's ever going to be so oversaturated that there's just no more room for even one more seller?
No, because e-commerce is growing, and it's growing exponentially every year. We see that, at the end of the year, the sales from brick and mortar to versus e-commerce. I'm not worried about that. I live in abundance, and I think that there is enough for everyone to find their niche and grow their business. So for me, it would be just trying to find the right mentor, the right coach, and the right resources. And before you ever buy any sort of course, to start asking others about it, right? Because I have people come to me that have spent thousands and thousands of dollars where they could have put that money into inventory. And just really, there's a lot of information that you can obtain with just your time and not spending a lot of your capital that needs to go into inventory. So no, I live in abundance. I think everybody can be successful, especially in e-commerce, because it's just growing like crazy.
So tell everyone where they can find you, and tell us a little bit more about your course too, because I didn't ask you about that.
Yeah. Okay. So Ladies of FBA, my name is Jess Hill. I'm on Facebook, Jess Hill, Ladies of FBA. I'm on Instagram, Ladies of FBA, YouTube. And on YouTube, I actually have my own private, my business partner and I have developed a mastermind group. And so on YouTube, it'll be under e-commerce empowerment. And so in October, we've been teaching these classes. We've been teaching retail arbitrage basics, retail arbitrage advanced. We've been teaching bundling, how to make your first $1,000 at TJ Maxx, Ross, and Marshalls. So we took all of our courses, all of our classes, and we still do one brand new class every single month. So in February, I'm like on the spot. We're going to be talking about outsourcing and hiring a VA, right? But we have all these we have how to sell on Etsy. We have all about Amazon meltables. So we put all of them in one private Facebook group. So it's e-commerce empowerment. And it's a paid group. It's less than $2 a day to join. And you can literally watch all of my previous trainings. I put in a learning unit every week, whether it's like a customer response template or, brand restriction list or how to get ungated, all of that. So I saw a need and everybody wanted more training. And so that's what we offer, e-commerce empowerment. And then, of course, my email addresses are ladiesofFBA@gmail.com and ecommerceempowerment@gmail.com. You can find me pretty much anywhere.
Awesome. Do you have any questions for me?
So I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. Thanks for finding me on Instagram and giving me the opportunity to share my story, to share what we're doing in the women's empowerment, in entrepreneur space. And I just want to say thank you. It's been such a pleasure talking to you.
Well, no, thank you for being on here. I think that anytime, I'm a mother as well. And so I think that anytime we can share information like this with mothers, most especially, to kind of help them, there's a tendency to sometimes feel like you're helpless because you either have to be supported by your significant other or you have to struggle finding a job, trying to make ends meet, spending less time with your kids. And so this is a flexible way to help you kind of like pave your Amazon journey and be successful at it. And you're an example of that. So I thank you for sharing this information.
Thanks. And then just one more thing. So, a lot of us that are mothers, the reason that we do this is for our kids, because we can show them how to become a successful entrepreneur. So, with the flexible schedules and maybe autoimmune, whatever, but at the end of the day, I'm going to show my 4 kids how to build businesses and then they can be successful too. So, it's both. It's empowering to us as entrepreneurs, as moms, as women in e-commerce. And then always, our kids are the reason we do all of this, right?
1,000% agree. All right, Jessica. Well, I want to thank you so much. Is it Jessica or Jess?
Both.
Okay. Well, in
No,
any case, I'm just saying thank you for being on the podcast and sharing all this great info.
it's my pleasure. Thank you so much.